In the next lecture, Jyri Salpakari is going to tell us what is energy and how renewables fit in. Jyri Salpakari is a doctoral student and a researcher in the Department of Physics at Aalto University. His work focuses on how to integrate wind and solar energy production to the energy systems. The main problem is that wind and solar power are variable and not fully predictable because they depend on weather conditions. He looks on how electricity use could be controlled to fit the varying wind and solar energy production. Welcome, Jyri Salpakari. And today we are going to discuss what is energy and how renewables fit in. First, I would like to ask you, what are the challenges in production of renewable energy, and how is energy produced nowadays?
Well, in 2012, in statistics compiled by the International Energy Agency, 82% of energy in the world was produced from fossil fuels, and 10% from biofuels and waste, 5% nuclear, 2% hydro, and only 1% from other renewables.
Okay, so using renewable energy has a lot of benefits, but what are the main challenges? Why don't we have more renewable energy at the moment?
Well, some of the renewable energy sources, especially solar energy and offshore wind, are still slightly more expensive than traditional energy production. And they need direct subsidies, meaning support money from governments, so that they would be used. And this is changing. The costs are coming down as the production volumes are increasing and technologies are developing. And also it should be kept in mind that also traditional energy sources are subsidized substantially in the world, fossil and nuclear sources that is. In 2013, according to International Energy Agency, the IEA, the fossil fuel subsidies in the world compared to renewable sources quite heavily. They were 4 times as large in absolute terms as the renewable energy subsidies. And in the case of nuclear energy, the subsidization is indirect, as governments will take the final responsibility of nuclear accidents or nuclear waste repositories.
Okay, so but what are the other issues? So when we produce renewable energy, for instance solar power, sometimes we need to store the energy for later use. So is there any interesting out-of-the-box ideas how the energy can be stored for later use?
Well, the traditional way to store electricity is batteries, which all of our viewers are probably familiar from mobile phones, laptop computers, cars. But these batteries are still quite expensive at large scale, which is needed for like really large scale energy production systems. But this is also changing as electric cars are becoming more popular, which is leading to huge volume increases in this kind of large scale battery production, which is driving the costs down. And there are other ways to store electricity. The one that is today economic at large scale and is already used quite a bit in the world is pumped hydro. So you just pump water upstream to a reservoir and then you pump it, then you let it flow downstream through a turbine. So it's like a reversible hydropower station. And then there are other technologies such as flywheels or compressed air electricity storages. And so this has been for storing electricity. But thermal energy, it is easier and especially cheaper to store than electricity. So one very interesting pathway is to convert electricity to heat, which can be done quite readily because electricity has higher energy quality than heat. And then store the energy as heat and then use it to supply heat consumption, which is always there because people need space heating when it's cold outside, and they always need domestic hot water regardless of outside temperature.
Okay, very good. But then there's also the issue that we can have energy spikes in the consumption. Mm-hmm. For instance, everyone turning on their fans in the hot weather at the same time. Mm-hmm. Or we can have a very sunny day when we have a peak of, for instance, solar production. So what can we do with the spikes?
Well, these consumption spikes are already there in the traditional energy system, and the energy system has been designed to handle these. So the traditional way to bring this required flexibility to energy systems is that the production follows the load. So in these situations that you describe, for instance, this turning air conditioners on a hot day, these peak load plants, which are for instance gas turbines or oil plants, they turn on and then they produce the required electricity. But as you said, now that we are putting more and more variable renewable energy sources, wind and solar, to energy systems, there will also be these kind of uncontrollable spikes in the energy production, which is new to energy systems. And these flexibility measures, one of them is this traditional production control, which I just mentioned, but then there are others such as energy storage, energy system interconnections, and demand management will be used more and more to control these spikes.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.